The history of the Coopers Brewing Company is unique in this country. The Adelaide-based Brewery is one of our oldest family-run businesses, now through 5 generations. It's withstood a hostile takeover, beer wars with major brewers like CUB and Lion, trying to crush them over the years, and even recently the emergence of the host of micro and boutique breweries that have sprung up. Well, this week, the chief executive of Coopers, Tim Cooper, decided to hand over the reins of the business. But look, importantly, he'll remain with his passion as the chief brewer, and he joins me from Adelaide. Tim, always good to catch up with you. Why have you hung up the boots?
Ross, I'm in my 69th year, so I turned 69 in June. It could have come a little earlier, but we were busy building our new visitor centre at Regency Park, a $70 million project, and I committed to my fellow directors that I'd stay on as managing director until we saw the end of that project. So we opened that to the public in August last year.
So if you don't mind me saying, I reckon that Coopers is Australia's, sort of unique and individual boutique brewer. It's always been renowned for the quality of its product and for the fact that it doesn't manufacture in bulk like many other brewers do. But you've got so many other microbreweries suddenly springing up, so literally out of the suburbs. Is it a challenge for a brewer such as Coopers?
I think we've been fortunate, Ross, because we've ridden the wave of the craft revolution. So the craft revolution really has gone on for the last 20 years. So as you know, hundreds and hundreds of craft breweries have sprung up over that time. And I think, if anything, they have created a greater interest in the beer category, and that's helped us along in the process. We've also been described as being the grandfather of craft because, of course, we're 163 years this year, so we've been around for a long time, and our products, as you implied, certainly give the impression of being craft and certainly craft-like, but not so much small batch. Our fermenters are quite large now. We can ferment about 200,000 litre batches at a time, so which is on the larger size. But on the overall, we feel that it's been beneficial. We've seen a lot of growth in the industry with the craft players, and we think that it's helped us along in the process.
And it's really interesting because overall beer consumption is falling, and yet Coopers continues to grow. Now, that obviously is against where the market sits right now, which therefore implies that it's the big brewers, it's the CUBs, it's the Lions that are dropping market share right now. Is that your own sense? And what do you think? Is it really a move away from their traditional products to the more crafty style products?
It certainly has been over the last period of time. The growth in craft is probably plateaued now, but we've fortunately been growing against that decline in volume. The decline in volume really is across the whole industry. So we're seeing a decline in the MAT of about 4% or a bit over 4%, and yet we're up 3.5%. So, which is very pleasing to be able to report. But it's certainly over the period of the 20-year period, craft really grew from 1% of the national beer volume to more than 5%. So, and then if you add us on top and we're 5%, then it adds up to more than 10%. So that's the summary of it. And there are some smaller players, other like the supermarkets and other players who add up the rest. So yeah. The two majors make up about 85%.
Just one other aspect of it. Now, we mentioned the business, 5 generations, and indeed the history going back 163 years. How does a company, a family business like yours, stay together for so long? I mean, ultimately there are so many mouths to feed, so many mouths that have got to be looked after. How does it actually hold it together over that time?
Well, we've got a good constitution, which really helped us out during the Lion-Nathan battle in 2005. So the shares can only be traded preemptively, so we have preemptive rights. So anyone wanting to sell their shares, and that doesn't happen very often, but if they do, they need to sell to existing shareholders. So the strength of the constitution really has helped maintain the company. We have two halves of the family, so the A and the B side, and that also has helped in terms of diversity, but also in terms of allowing for a good interaction between effectively what is four sides of the family, so dating back to the third generation of the business.
So I know you're stepping down as the chief executive, but you stay on as the chief brewer. Is that a case where you know you're pretty good at brewing the beer, so you might as well keep on doing it?
Well, Ross, that's generous to put. I enjoy beer is in my blood, and certainly I've always enjoyed doing it since I joined the company in 1990. I was on the technical side of the business for 12 years before I became managing director, and it gives me the opportunity to help our brewing team and the technical side of the business. Michael Shearer, who takes my place, has very much a commercial background, so I'm able to, as long as he wishes it, I'm able to help on the technical side and just add my assistance there. And I continue to enjoy turning up each week to beer tasting. We release the beers through these tasting sessions, which is a tough job, but someone's got to do it. And so twice a week I'll be attending those beer release sessions to make sure that the quality of the beer is as we expect.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim, it's a cracking story. There's no doubt about that. And I thank you so much for telling it to us today, and we really appreciate your time.
Ross, thank you very much for your interest.